There is an idea spreading through the clean energy conversation that the job is simple. Just build more lithium-ion batteries, electrify everything, and we're done. But that ignores the actual physical reality of the petrol industry. It is a highly complex, sprawling global network. Now, battery electric vehicles are brilliant at what they do. For the daily passenger commute, urban mobility, and short-haul city deliveries, batteries win outright. But that is only a fraction of the equation. Look outside the city limits, and the power requirements scale up drastically. We rely on 40-ton trucks crossing continents, container ships crossing oceans, passenger aircraft, and massive farm machinery tearing through fields. Pretending a single battery technology can seamlessly replace all of those distinct systems is an oversimplification. By trying to force a one-size-fits-all solution, we are actually slowing down the real energy transition. This chart shows the relationship between a vehicle's weight and its required range. Notice this optimal zone down here for small passenger cars. But as you scale up to heavy transport, batteries run into a hard physical limit: energy density. To move massive loads over long distances, the required battery pack becomes exponentially heavier. For a 34-ton long-haul commercial vehicle, carrying that much battery weight becomes simply impractical. You end up spending a massive amount of your energy just hauling the battery itself, instead of your actual cargo. The energy transition is an engineering challenge at a civilisational scale, and serious engineering requires matching specific alternative solutions to specific logistical problems. Forcing heavy logistics to rely on lithium-ion cells doesn't reduce global carbon emissions effectively. It creates systemic inefficiencies and structural failures across our supply chains. This is where we need the right tools for the job. For heavy trucking, hydrogen fuel cells offer a distinct advantage. They provide the necessary power to pull massive cargo loads without the crippling weight penalty of a giant battery. This isn't theoretical. Switzerland has operated a commercially viable fleet of hydrogen trucks since 2020, proving the technology works in the real world with rapid 15-minute refueling times. When we look at commercial aviation, the physics are even more rigid. Current battery technology is physically too heavy to achieve long-haul flight for the 4 billion passengers moving through the sky every year. The most credible near-term option here is SAF, or Sustainable Aviation Fuel. SAF is a liquid alternative to fossil jet fuel, produced from renewable sources like waste oils or agricultural residues, and it matters immensely because it can be used directly in existing airplane engine architectures today. Then there is deep-sea cargo shipping. The stringent energy density and sheer volume of cargo space required to cross an ocean make both batteries and hydrogen completely impractical. To power global maritime logistics without carbon emissions, green ammonia is emerging as the high-density frontrunner. Green ammonia is a liquid fuel produced by combining hydrogen from water electrolysis with nitrogen from the air, generated entirely by renewable energy. Funding hydrogen, SAF, and green ammonia doesn't mean competing against the EV market. It means creating parallel progress to solve the distinct logistical problems that batteries physically cannot fix. We also have to address the hundreds of millions of combustion engine vehicles already on the road. For many developing economies, discarding an entire functioning fleet to buy brand new electric vehicles is not a realistic option. This diagram illustrates the production of synthetic e-fuels. By combining captured CO2 with green hydrogen, we can create a drop-in synthetic fuel that works inside existing combustion engines. This allows existing cars to run carbon neutral immediately. We can bypass the massive material cost of manufacturing brand new vehicles to achieve real emissions reductions right now. Without these drop-in e-fuels, we essentially leave developing economies and massive legacy fleets stranded without a viable transition plan. But even where batteries do work flawlessly, there is a hidden flaw in the manufacturing process. Building these cells requires the intensive, environmentally damaging, and geopolitically sensitive extraction of finite materials like lithium and cobalt. When these expensive batteries reach the end of their life, the dominant fate for these materials is ending up decaying in landfills or going through low-grade recycling that destroys much of their actual value. We mine new lithium, build new cells, use them, and throw them away. This continuous cycle of mining, building, and dumping is a strictly linear and wasteful economy operating under a green badge. This map shows dozens of ambitious new battery gigafactories across the European Union. But notice these supply lines. Europe remains highly dependent on Chinese imports for refined battery materials, like processed lithium and cobalt. Betting an entire continent's industrial future on a single point of failure in a foreign supply chain is a massive strategic blind spot. Fortunately, there is a chemical loophole. The individual atoms of lithium, cobalt, and nickel inside a dead battery do not actually degrade over time. The cell loses performance, but the atoms themselves retain their full chemical value. This graphic details the process of direct recycling. It is a method that extracts active cathode materials completely intact, bypassing energy-intensive smelting to recover up to 99.6% of the valuable materials directly into a new cell. To achieve this closed loop at scale, we have to standardize battery cell design so that disassembly and recycling are engineered into the vehicle's architecture from day one. A mature direct recycling industry turns the millions of aging EVs on domestic soil into a secure, localized mining reserve, drastically reducing our reliance on foreign extraction. This is what the real energy transition looks like in practice. It is hydrogen trucks delivering goods, commercial flights running on SAF, green ammonia powering cargo ships, and a fleet of EVs running on endlessly recycled batteries, all operating simultaneously. The energy transition is not a horse race where one technology takes all. It is a vital coalition of solutions where batteries are absolutely essential, but ultimately not sufficient on their own.